Hey everybody, Dan Fitzpatrick here, stockmarketmentor.com on March 4th. Broadcom just reported earnings a while ago, and I want to look at a couple things. First of all, let's look and see where the stock closed. So the stock closed right around the 200-day moving average. It had been trading for a lot of the afternoon, like right around 320, but closed at 317. So they reported earnings, and I was in doing a trading session, after hours trading session with our peeps, with our members, and we were looking at the way the stock reacted. Pardon me, my timer went off. We were looking at the way the stock reacted, and it was really just kind of sitting around, not doing a whole lot. Like we can look at it here. So they had reported like right around here, you could see it just kind of wasn't doing a whole bunch. And then right about here, I would imagine it was because of the conference call or something, but I really don't care. Right about here, the thing started to take off. And so it was interesting because we were still in the session and I'd been going over Broadcom talking about what the implied move had been based on the options market. And the implied move on this was to 344 on the upside and 296 on the downside. In other words, the stock should stay within this ceiling and above this floor. And it was, like I said, it was just kind of doing nothing. And then one of our members goes, "Hey, man, take a look at Broadcom again." So we took a look at Broadcom again, and this is what we saw. So we got this squeeze. And once you see, this is a 1 minute chart, so I'm just going to go to a 15. Once you see this kind of a squeeze, post market, it has to last for more than just a cup of coffee. But once you see this kind of a squeeze in response to earnings, that is virtually always going to follow through into the next day. Again, it has to last. A lot of times you're going to see these wild gyrations, go one way and then the other and back and forth. And you really kind of don't get a sense of where the stock is going to be the next morning. But with this kind of move, it's a very, very meaningful move. So my suspicion is, and I'm trading it this way, I bought some stock after hours. I think we all did in this session, even though it wasn't intended to be a trading session. It's more like a training session, or a trading session. So that's fine. Anyway, my suspicion is this stock's going to open up tomorrow, going to run higher than the 50-day moving average, but somehow probably stall out right around 340-ish, something like that. So that's the way I'm playing it. Maybe you'll be playing it too. I'm not sure. One other thing I'll mention, and this just kind of came out today, some people were asking about doing a like 59-minute trading series or something like that, so that we can learn to make money and actually make money all at the same time. So I will be doing something like that. I just need to put it together, and you can be the first one on your block to know about it. So, okay, that's all I got for today. Hope you all had a good day. Let's go into the rest of the week and smoke them. All right. I'll see you then.